gonna get to know you. We're gonna talk it out. We're gonna get to know you and what you're all about. We're gonna get to know just what makes you feel alive. We're gonna get to know how you build, lead, and thrive. Build, Lead, and Thrive. Voices of the Androscoggin.
Welcome to Build, Lead, Thrive, Voices of Androscoggin, a bi-monthly podcast that features in-depth conversations with the people shaping Androscoggin County. Each episode dives into personal stories, showcasing the leaders and entrepreneurs behind the region's economic and community vitality. I'm your host, Shanna Cox, President and CEO of the LA Metro Chamber. I am joined by local talent, my longtime friend, and our producer, Mark Turcotte.
How are you?
I'm lovely. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's been a while.
It's a new year.
It's been a while since we've been in this office.
I love this.
We've been on the road.
I know. We've been busy.
Yeah.
We've been taking it on the road. It's nice. Together, we highlight the leaders and entrepreneurs building a stronger economy and vibrant community right here in our region, sharing stories of how they build, lead, and thrive.
So today it is just Shanna and I, and today's episode is a little different. Instead of featuring a guest, we're taking some time to reflect on the year behind us, what we've learned, what surprised us, and what it means for the year ahead. Before we dive in, let's level set. This isn't a highlight reel or a top 10 wins episode. It's a real conversation about leadership, community, and what this year asked of us.
Boy, this year had some questions for us, didn't it?
Yes. Not a whole lot of answers on my end anyways.
No, that's right. That's right. That's exactly. It's, both preparing for this episode and just like as Mark and I are recording this, we're like a week-ish into the year. I had some time off over the holidays. I think you might have had some downtime. There's just always like the natural rhythm of this point of the year is reflection. And I just found myself being like, this is the longest year ever. And that's saying something because 2020 was also a really long year.
I think it's still going on.
That's the conversation in some of my peer groups for sure.
I work over at Lydia Media. Pam Ashby gave us, it was like a week and a half off.
Oh,
we had like from Christmas Eve to January 5th.
Nobody even knows what day of the week it is in that time frame anyway.
Exactly. And I couldn't remember the last time I had a week off.
Yeah.
It was magical.
Did you find yourself forgetting what day of the week it was?
Oh, yeah. And I loved it.
So
good.
I loved it.
I didn't have a whole lot planned.
Those are the days where you just like eat cheese as a main meal and wander around in your sweatpants.
Yes.
And I'm usually really good at doing that. And this year I had a conference where I was finishing a certification in the beginning of January. And if I did that, like I customarily do, I would have been away from my desk, which also means like away from paperwork getting signed and payroll getting like all the things, right?
Yeah.
I would have been away from my desk from the 19th of December until the 12th of January. And so I actually broke up that magic week and came into the office the 29th and 30th. And I have to say, really good for my work life, really good for getting things done. Mm-hmm. I really missed the like cheese, sweatpants, what day of the week it is. Because even just with the there's a time mark of, okay, tomorrow I have to set my alarm. And now tomorrow I have to get up. And it just like those 2 days kind of like bum rushed the whole week.
Yeah.
So good for you. Good for everyone at Lydia Media. Nice work, Pam.
Yeah, I'm up at 4:30 every day regardless.
Yeah.
My dog gets me up, and I have no issue with that whatsoever. I love getting up early. But there's a magical feeling when you're up that early and you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
You can open a book, start a show, sit down.
It's pretty awesome.
Go back to bed if you want.
That's right.
Not because you're trying to sleep, but just because horizontal's nice.
Because you can.
Yeah.
Right? Let's take a look back at the year that was. When you think about this past year, what word or phrase keeps coming back to you?
I think maybe turbulent. And I know that's not like an up emotional word, but if you talk to people in the business community, and my day-to-day job is supporting people running, owning, operating businesses, this year was just like super unpredictable.
Yeah.
There was changes in tariffs, there were changes in expenses, there were, changes in the policy environment, some of the supports from our nonprofit community that businesses rely on. Those also had some kind of like movement amongst them. And, so it wasn't just that it was a year of flux, but it was also that flux was like, turbulent. And it really truly was. I saw that for people, for business owners, for, you saw, even the mortgage market right? Like there's some stability in home prices. You know, we were seeing rates getting cut at the end of the year, but if you go back to January and February, they were expecting those rate cuts far earlier in the year than the last 3 months of the year. And the like, it's going to happen. Nope, it's not. It's going to happen. Nope, it's like that. It's that, right? So it was, so either unpredictability or turbulent. Just October to December felt like a year.
Yeah.
And it had its own kind of like chapter in the book of 2025. And you really I had to go back and really like, oh, but there were earlier chapters. Like January was a chapter, February was a chapter.
Right. What surprised you most about this year, professionally or personally?
Oh, good question.
I can think of one thing.
Yeah. It certainly surprised a lot of people. I mean, I think the thing, I got to a place of like, and this is like in my professional journey of like development, like developing as a leader, developing as a manager, you know, as a businesswoman. There are some things that I'm like always working on about myself. There are some things that I've gotten pretty good, like new skills that I've, you know, mastered over the years. But there is a piece that I feel like will probably always be my life's work. But this year I feel like I actually made some progress on it, and that surprised me. Like this year I finally learned to be able to accept the things that I can't control. I think in the past, I've really, you know, particularly when something that is maybe out of my control feels like I could like control things around the fringe. Like I can accept I can't control that thing, but I can control like how it impacts other people, or I can soften that, or that's always been a struggle for me. And this year there was like a real acceptance inside in a way. Like I think it's your fault, and it's
what did I do?
It's your. How many times have you said to me, I can't, like I know you've said it to me a million times, and it's more like I'm left with the feeling and not the memory of the words you said. It just was like a jealousy and a desire to live that life too. But there's a moment in your life that you have described before, I think even on this podcast.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. To live a life I didn't need a vacation from.
That living rent-free in my head. I mean, I think part of getting to that point is to really fully accept that which you can't control, and then of the things you can control, to choose to control it. And for me, this was the year of like, I'm going to make progress on that one. And by the end of the year, I like looked back and I was like, I think I really inherently accepted, you know, took accountability for what I can change, and for the things that I can't, I just really, you know, like in the fiber of my being was like, okay, I can't, that's not a thing I can do a thing about. Wildly freeing.
Have you ever studied Stoicism?
Not deeply, like just a touch.
Yeah.
Say more.
I'm just getting into it.
Really?
But
Can we start a book club?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've heard this quote before, but it resonated with me like within the past 5 or so years, where we cannot control what happens, but we can control how we react to what happens. Listening to that or reading it on the surface sounds great, but once you fully understand what that means, it's a game changer.
I've had to overcome some really hard times in my life. I was like homeless for a couple of years as a teenager. I've had to overcome some hard things, and they could have ruined me. They could have been the reason that I was held back. They could have been the reason that I was a victim. They could have, and so I've been working on that for a very long time, and became really grateful about the interventions in my life in those times that like kept me on the right path. And, you know, so like I think the earliest version of acceptance and truly living into that philosophy came with me figuring out the good in the worst situations, or the lesson I learned that made me ensure that I wouldn't repeat that. And then saying like, okay, so then this horrible experience is not a loss because I've gained something from it that I can carry forward in a positive way. And so like, I think that's the best way that I was able to like live into that for a really long time. And it's only just more recently that I've like taken the rest of that step, which is so amazing. Yeah.
It's exciting, right?
It's surprising.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you spend a lifetime working on something like that and then something finally clicks, I just got out of my own way, probably. Yeah. It's really great.
Yeah.
And I remember just being like, oh, I actually think, well, that's crazy. I think I made some progress on that one finally.
Yeah.
I think it's that. And then personally, you know, like we're going to talk about this a little bit, but this year I decided to like plan for my next adventure.
Yeah.
And so, in June shared some important information with our members and with my board, and made a decision with my family about finding the next challenge post chamber and making sure this chamber is in its best and strongest point, and that we find great leadership for it. And there was a bit of a surprise. I had not I love this job. There was it's not like for the last 2 years, like, oh, I'm ready. I wasn't. It was like, I think the surprise was the calling I felt to the next challenge, because there was nothing about my life that I wasn't happy with. Mm-hmm. Right. And so I think that's the part that surprised me, is like, oh, I can't ignore that.
I think it was probably the second or third year that I was like, she's destined for something bigger than this. Even though this is big.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you there's a higher calling out there for you. And I can't say I was surprised at all when I saw the story come out.
Yeah.
I was thrilled for you.
Aw.
Because I knew that I just know you're going to do great things.
Thanks.
Outside of the chamber.
Thanks.
And it's very exciting. The great thing is, too, that we get to all benefit from.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and I get to keep contributing to a place I care about and the people that I care about. I love that part. I think for me, it was that I've always felt like that it'll be a long time before I'm done. Whatever that looked like, I just knew that was true. I've always thought like I'll know it when I see it, or I'll feel it when it's just this year like a lightning bolt. It's like, oh, I guess I feel it. And that's it.
It's time.
That's it.
Yeah.
That was a surprise.
I've got a question for you. What did we build this year that feels durable, not just exciting, but lasting?
So this is like industry nerd moment, but bear with me. Sam, our director of engagement. So like, we're a membership serving association. We provide benefits and value to our members. That's very different depending on what member you are and what you care about. And so like, there's a whole different ways that shows up. This year, I feel like we finally really got a hold of our membership appreciation, like process and habits, and like we have thank you days, and we've really there's a number of like operational things that felt like real wins, because it's not just a thing that we did well, but like we put the systems and the habits and the people in place to make sure that is durable. And that feels like such a shout out to Sam. Shout out to Sam, and shout out to Northeast Charter and Tours, who saw that work over the course of the year and is now driving our ambassadors around in style on our thank you days, because they wanted to be part of that fun. Like, that's what I mean about durable. That is beyond me, right?
What are you hearing from members about those interactions?
They love them.
Yeah.
They love seeing them. They love when our ambassadors show up at their place of business and they have fun with it. It's the culture. Like, it's not just a day, and it's not just like what we show up with or how we say thank you or the social media shout out. It is like the combination of those things, but it is the culture of like paying it forward and recognizing and mutuality that we've created together, our members and our staff and our board and our ambassadors, like as a team. That culture is bigger than any one of us. Right. And I hear from members that they engage sometimes in other chambers or other business networking spaces, and that mutuality and the welcoming and the inclusiveness that they get. Like, they'll go to a different event somewhere else, and they'll like walk up to say hello to people, and they like literally have their backs turned. They're literally don't let people into like the circle.
Yeah.
And they come back and they're like, I just have never felt better than when I'm at your event, and I like actually get to talk to people, and those relationships I leave the room with, and they're real, and it makes me really proud.
It's intentional.
Yeah.
It's 100% intentional.
Yeah. And you can feel it.
Yeah.
Like, if you you've been with us you were doing stuff with the chamber before I was around, right? Like, you went back in the
Becky Conrad days. Yeah.
And I think that culture changes takes a while sometimes, and it takes a high level of intentionality. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you've seen those changes.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you feel most stretched as a leader?
Providing continuity and predictability in a world that's so unpredictable. Like, that's been the challenge of this last year is, when you're dealing with members who are dealing with unpredictability and want you to like help them find the grant or help them find the program or help them find the right business connection, like the kind of chaos and speed of how things are changing for them, we feel that. It's amplified for us because we've got 700 of you giving us that feedback or asking for that, need or support. And so to be a leader in that space, to provide as much consistency in our work environment, in our work schedule, in the places that we can, when there will always be places that we can't control that. This year really stretched that in new ways. That's how I felt stretched.
Yeah. You took the reins here during one of the most chaotic times in this country's history.
Yeah.
And you're leaving in one of the most chaotic times.
It's like, I'm a big one for bookends and full circle moments, I guess. Right?
Let a girl breathe, right?
That's the thing is, I think there was this time in all fairness, and to my peers in the chamber industry and other chamber execs, I was a member of this chamber. I lived and worked in this community with the chamber as a collaborator or partner for many years. And I did not give enough credit to the people who work here and the job that this is. The people who are members, and then the community at large, and people who are not yet members or will never be members, right?
Yeah.
All want something so different from the chamber or from the business community, and they see the chamber being the one to deliver on behalf of the business community, and the demands are varied and great, and they change based on what any individual's need is at that moment. So it's like a chameleon all the time, and you're like trying to figure out what color am I supposed to be today against which wall. And I definitely was judgmental and did not give enough credit to my predecessors and to the employees who worked here before. And so much love to Maureen Obie, who I hope listens to this episode. But it's a hard gig,
which is
in the best of times.
Which is
I haven't seen those.
Great segue into my next question is, what do you think people don't fully see about the work behind the scenes?
Oh my gosh, everything
at the chamber.
It's wild.
Yeah.
We're always planning for something that you won't see the first sight of for 2 months and that you won't get to participate in for 6. Mm-hmm. We're constant 6-month lead time on everything that we're doing. And while we are maintaining that pace of planning ahead, booking that venue, designing the marketing, thinking about the details, grabbing the speaker, all of those things way in advance. Right? Some venues you have to get a year in advance.
Yep.
We are executing today. Today's event, today's seminar, I'm providing testimony to the legislature. Like today is happening while we are also tomorrowing up to a year out. And I think so for people who function well in change, it keeps them alive and energized and awake to move from one topic to another. They excel here. Right? But for folks who are like, I like a routine and I like predictability and I like the days to look the same, we are your worst nightmare. We just can't do that. There's nothing about what we functionally do that allows us to do that, in a work environment. And so I think what people don't know behind the scenes is how amazing this team is. I mean, people know that. People know that we have a great team, right? So full credit to members.
I think anyone who has attended any of your events
it, right?
that.
What you might not know is the way that we like each other that much after going through a lot of stuff and working long hours together, and that we get through some of those high stress or high visibility moments is the absolute insanity in the ways that we act around each other when no one's watching. We play loud music, we use coarse language, we make fun of each other in ways that I swear is loving. And for anyone on the, we actually thoughtfully onboard new staff members because we're like, oh, how do we show them this?
Yep.
And how do we let them know that this is great if you consent, it's great. But we're very real with each other. We make a lot of space for being human, for your kids being sick, for you having a bad day, for it being a breakfast on breakfast days. Hot tip. If you ever want to see what I'm talking about, show up at 2 p.m. on a breakfast day. We've all been working for 8+ hours. Yeah. It's already been a long week. We were fully prepared hair and makeup done for those of us who wear makeup in the venue by 6 a.m. So come 2 p.m., we are like a little overtired. Our sentences aren't making a lot of sense. We kind of like hit this brick wall. We all wander out of our office spaces into like the general hallway by the cooler. And we just like, sometimes we sing, we make jokes. Like we don't make any sense at all.
A little punchy.
Yeah, well, that's
Right.
definitely a polite way of thinking about it. So hot take, 2 p.m. on a breakfast day, get a good sense of what I'm talking about there. Yeah, people would not know because we're very professional. And in any environment, we're like, matching to the environment. And but part of how we can, like, you can't maintain that level of, veneer and polish and high focus all of the time. That's just not realistic. And so in our safe space where we can like take some of that down a notch, we're just real.
It's healthy.
Very, very real.
It's healthy.
We think so.
Yeah. We're going to get into a couple of segments here. Lessons and leadership growth, followed by looking ahead. So if this year has taught us anything about building, Shanna, what was it?
If I was to like, with a metaphor, right? Build with solid materials. Build, like if you can build with stone or brick, build with stone or brick, right? Don't make a mud pie and wonder why it didn't hold up. So this year was like, this is like, how do you control the things you can't control to the best of your ability? And like, you look for the most solid partnerships to build something with. I love new relationships. I love forging and exploring new partnerships. But if you're going to build something really like to last and you're going to build something big, you're going to build it with a solid, known, foundational relationship. And so like, this year was a good reminder of that in some ways, is like the things that you can be the most experimental with, that you can be the most successful with, are things that are built from the most solid thing, something transparent, something, flimsy, something false is not going to hold up.
Right.
For building something
Rarely ever
that you want it
does.
to last. Yeah. So durability.
In your 5 years here, what leadership habit did you strengthen or have to unlearn?
That's a good one. I strengthened my management style. I think that I had been a good leader in many different like community spaces or like groups, but it wasn't until I worked here that I actually had to function as a manager, be responsible for the care and feeding of staff and managing morale and like, the real pieces of managing people to get results, to get growth, to retain them. And there was definitely some things I didn't do great out of the gate and that I've learned about over the years. And it really, I would say that's one of my biggest growth areas in the years that I've been here. And one of the things I'm the most proud of, because like this goes back to, something about building, but this chamber could not have done the culture change, the new programs, the new events that we've done if we hadn't had a core team to do it with. And management is like a fundamental building block of maintaining that.
Yeah.
That's an area I feel good about.
It's not easy.
Nope.
Managing people is a bear.
People are hard. They're like human and have needs and they deal with unexpected things in their life. And then when you like them, which I inevitably do, it becomes even harder because you don't want them to suffer or have a hard time. Or
What advice would this year's version of you give to last year's version?
buckle up, Buttercup.
It's going to get bumpy.
It's going to be a little bit bumpy for a minute. I mean, there was just, we're in such a like strong place, economically within our region, organizationally, mid 24 going into 25. And then, there's just like less known. Some of that eroded in community and other places, like, not specific to us, but like we've seen some erosion and some backslide of things that you kind of just maybe took for granted was like a permanent improvement. I think Lewiston has had some hard times over the past couple years, and I've lived here long enough and worked here long enough that I've seen it hit these really high peaks of promise, and you just want it to like achieve that next layer of amazing that you know is right there. And so like the times when something like feels a little bit of that has eroded, and a little bit of the like, oh, maybe it's going to take a little longer to get to that pinnacle, are always hard. And this was a year of that. This, and I did like, that was not on my bingo card. I didn't see that coming. Whereas like in 2020, I was sure 21 was going to be a hard year. Right. 21, I was like, I bet 22 is going to be a little hard too. But you know, it really felt like we had really turned a corner and was headed in a really strong direction and had some good momentum. And there has still been wins. It's not bad all over the place. Don't get me wrong. But man, if we had kept that momentum and that trajectory, right? And so, I mean, I think I would say like, hey, I know you've been through some hard times and I know it's good right now. Don't take this moment for granted.
Yeah.
That would be my advice.
How do you manage your mental health while things are
hard
in the blender?
I'm somebody who draws purpose from the hard stuff. Mm-hmm. I think and I've seen it in my life. I have made the intentional choice at many different points in my life to be like, oh, this is we're in the suck right now. This is the suck. Yeah. Acknowledge it and don't pretend like I'm not a rose-colored glasses girl, right? Yeah. But when you're in the suck, you can say like, okay, what are the truths I can name about this moment that gives me a reason to wake up tomorrow or believe that tomorrow could be better? And I've always been able to find an answer to that question, and then I focus on that. Focusing on why it sucks, how we got to where it sucks, how much it sucks is not going to be helpful towards my mental health, towards the situation I'm in. Right? Like,
are you doing all of this internally?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I externalize some of it.
I've heard on occasion.
If you ever gardened with me, you would know for a fact that like I definitely externalize some of it. And then, I mean, I think the truth is I have this conversation that we're having right now. Yeah. I have this conversation a lot. I get the opportunity to advise business owners who are also in the suck. I have team members who are in the suck. And when I get to share with them, like, it doesn't have to be this bad. There's parts of it that are going to be this bad and that you can't wish away, you can't change. Mm-hmm. But how you respond to it and what you do next, you do have a lot of choice in. And so like being able to have that conversation externalizes and acts as a reminder to me these truths. And I'm fortunate to be in a position where like people want to have that conversation with me and trust me enough to like name the suck that they're in and, you know, and be vulnerable. And it feeds my soul in those moments. And those moments are the solution for my mental health. Mm-hmm. Like that moment, that exchange, that like helping someone else see their way through a dark spot is part of my calling and makes me be like, and that's why I woke up today. Yeah. And that's the reason I get out of bed today.
Our listeners should know that Shanna is beaming right now as she talks about helping people.
It's just like, I live for it. There's this young man, him and his business partner, I've been mentoring for 5 years now, maybe. I had a session with him, like literally right before we started recording today. And him and I were talking about, you know, like where he goes next and what he's doing in his business and what he's doing in his life. And in that conversation, in the like helping him make sense of where he's at and what his options are, and in listening, like truly listening to like the wins that he's had recently and how he wants to, you know, all of those things, I just, you know, gave him a big hug and walked him to the front door and then like walked back to my office and was like, and this is like, I'm going to miss that. This is why I do this. You know, like those moments help get you through the hard times, right?
Yeah. What are you carrying forward into your next chapter and what are you intentionally leaving behind?
I'm carrying forward those stories. The stories that I've heard from people that really help shape what's important to people, that help me retain empathy and understanding. Like I don't have all the different lifestyles. Those aren't all my experiences. And so when I gain some insight into someone else's experience or what's important to them, those moments, I'm going to pull those forward for sure, right? I am going to leave behind that like sense of like resignation, like being resigned to like, okay, this is the stuff that I'm going to accept, and being resigned to like the reality, not trying to like smooth it, control it, whatever. I everything that I had before that, I'm going to leave that right where it was because this is really nice. So I'm not going to bring any of that with me into 26. Thanks so much.
Love it.
You deserve 25. You two can have each other.
All right, let's move into looking ahead. As we look ahead, Shanna, what feels most important to you to protect?
Just like the core sense of who the chamber is and what we've become, which is like a combination of our programming, our accessibility. We have membership levels that people can actually like participate in. We have programming for people who haven't like gotten to a successful place in their startup yet and they don't need to be members. There is a lot of entry points and ways to like participate in and gain from and get connected through the chamber. And I think we have an amazing team who helps maintain that. We've institutionalized in our like policies and structures and right, like our membership model, like we've made real changes in that. And I want that to not change. And I'm somebody who loves change. So I want those principles to not change. I don't know that I feel compelled to protect it because it doesn't feel in danger. Right?
Yep.
But preserve maybe but I think that feels like the most important part to kind of retain while, tweaking things and making things new. I hope no one ever is like, well, that's not the way we've done it before. And we don't I hate that. I've always hated that. I hate that.
That's the way we've always done it.
Yeah. Anybody says that, you should put them in timeout or make them write on the chalkboard or I hope just that alone is the thing to protect is like, question it, question everything.
Right.
It's totally okay to question everything. Why do we do this? Why should we keep doing it? What's the better way to do it?
What feels primed for growth right now?
We've really done a lot of work with promoting our region in a way that benefits talent attraction needs for employers, with a way that benefits our kind of hospitality-based or benefiting industries. And that's everything from like restaurants and bars and lodging, but it also is arts and culture. It's, like when somebody comes here for the public theater or the community little theater and then like spends the afternoon, catches a show, that like hospitality benefit is benefited by promoting this region, dispelling myths about this region. And we shout out to Becca and our collaborators at Local Image too. Like killed it this year with our Explore and Discover brand, which we really intentionally kind of have a separation in our brand from the chamber. We recognize that like some places have really strong chambers and a really positive affiliation with chambers. Some places don't. And if we're going to really promote this region, we can't do it under the umbrella of the chamber alone. It could be really limiting. And there are people who benefit from us promoting this region who like aren't members yet. You come find us whenever you're ready. We'll be here. But so discoverlamaine.com got like a whole new glow up in its website. We, transitioned our socials to some of our social accounts. So Explore and Discover. It's on Instagram and on Facebook. And there's like really great content on all three of those platforms. And, we've positioned it for continued growth in a way that I think a lot of people can get excited about, that businesses can get excited about. Yeah, 2026 could be Discover LA Maine and Explore and Discover's big year. We've got a couple fun things up our sleeves for that this year.
All right.
Yeah, stay tuned.
All right.
Yeah.
What conversations do we want to invite our listeners into
I love that.
this year?
So when I looked at who, the conversations we got to have this year and the interviews that we got to have and the stories that we got to tell and reflected on like where people, sometimes I'll see someone and they'll be like, I listened to your podcast recently. It was really great. I love that. Right. Like, thank you. When I get a text message, oh my God, I'm in the middle of your podcast and so just said this and I needed that in this moment. I live for that. Right. Like that's fantastic. Shout out to Jen Lever, Meg Hatch. There's a couple of episodes where people immediately were like, blah, 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 blah. Shanna. That
there were a couple episodes where we were speechless.
Yes.
Before. And that's easy for me, but not so much for you.
Oh, Karen. That episode, that's going to live with me forever.
Yeah,
right? And so when I thought about some of those stories that I want us to, some of it is about projects or things that are happening in our region that the normal, Joe Schmo wouldn't know about. I'm a little bit of a planning and development nerd, and Not everyone is. I don't blame them at all. But there's like a really cool greenway project that would create like a biking and walking connectivity trail all the way to the ocean, and we're like this missing connection point that would connect us all the way up into the Western Mountains too. So I'd love to hey, call me if you're the person working on that project, because I think it's a multiple project with like different, trail groups and outdoor rec groups working on their own areas. And so like that whole connectivity piece. So that, like, I'd love to tell some of the stories that would like transform this area. The Riverfront Island Master Plan in Lewiston is like the plan itself. Usually you think of like a city plan and you're like, oh, that's going to be black and white. It's going to be dry and it's going to be, it is beautiful. It is got a lot of color in it. You can see the changes to Simard Pane. You can see what's going to happen at, Island Point. What? There's an Island Point? Yes, guys, that's my point. Like, and so like, I think there's just some really cool stories like that should get told more. Yeah. I also think are like people stories when it's not, I'm so-and-so and this is the job I have and this is the business or organization I work for. That's not the thing that sticks with people. It's when we're sitting on this microphone and we're talking about so-and-so and their job and where they do their job. And they talk about who they are as a human and how they got to that moment and how they lead in that moment. Like, that's the stories that connect with people. And that's what I want 2026 to like bring to our listeners.
Yeah. We are now 29 episodes in.
Wild.
To Build, Lead, Thrive.
Wild.
Is this what you had in mind when you thought of this concept?
It's a really good question. Yeah. Yes. Kind of. I mean, it's the direction I wanted to go in, but I had no idea what it would look like. Right? Like, it's like saying I want a red car and then a red car showing up. I was like, was it a Ferrari? Is it a Civic? I don't know. Right? Like, I think we got the Ferrari. Yeah. Right? I love the way, like, I always wanted this to talk about complex concepts, leadership, community, economy, trends and public health in ways that are like relatable and are being told like not in a presentation, not in a Q&A, but like from a human of whom knows that thing and cares about it, can talk about it like they love it, not like they're presenting it. That felt really important to me. And I feel like we've hit that mark almost every time.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I think you have that knack when you talk to people, and from where I'm sitting, watching the interview take place, there's a moment in time where the microphones disappear.
Yeah.
And it becomes a conversation. It becomes real. Yeah. Because a lot of times when guests come in, especially if they're not familiar with this format or are a little apprehensive about speaking into a microphone, the first 5 to 10 minutes can be a little nerve-wracking for them. But there is a moment. And I will say that moment has come in just about every episode where the microphones disappear and it gets real, and it's magical when that happens.
I had hoped that we'd get there. I know, like, part of what I love about this format is like how you brought me into this format, not just the podcast, but like when we started doing radio together, whatever ago,
5 years ago. 5 years ago.
I think it was 6.
Was it 6?
It's wild, right. Yeah. When we started doing radio together, like, we couldn't edit it, and I had to be on my best behavior. Right. So I love this one so much better. Great format, 100% better. But like I've been on the other side of that microphone, and you always put me at ease, and I always left just feeling like I had hung out with a friend, had some great laughs, had an opportunity to share some things that I thought were important or exciting that other people would care about. And you always made that space and made me feel really comfortable. And so I knew that I wanted to take that approach. I did not know if I would have the skill to deliver it. And I have to say, when I reached out to you and I was like, I'd like to do a podcast. We're going to kind of swap roles some. Will you be on this journey with me? I mean, you were training wheels. I mean, like, could anyone maybe do the like technical part of editing that you do? Maybe. You do an incredible editing job, and I love you as an editor too.
Thanks.
But like knowing that you'd be in the room, and that if I really like never could get somebody at ease, you knew how to do that. Was a big piece of why I asked you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like it, and so thank you for that comment, because it's certainly a goal of mine to like bring that into this space. And
that's what I look for in these settings. I look for the little things,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one thing that that really stands out to me, because you never know. You never, like, you were uncertain
yeah.
coming into this and being the interviewer. Like, did you have that skill set? How is it going to go? Could you make people comfortable? And it worked out.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness.
Could you imagine if you were 2 in and like, I don't know if I can sit through this with you, Shanna.
Right.
You're really cringy. Could you imagine? Like, you know what? Actually, gonna say no thank you. I'm gonna show you how to use the equipment. That's
right.
what.
This is the record button. I'll be outside.
Right? Could you? Yeah.
Yeah.
That.
So if someone listening right now wants to be part of building what's next in Androscoggin County, what's one thing they can do?
So I'm gonna okay, my nerd side's gonna show in this one.
All right. I'm here for it.
They can take any action. And I know that sounds like super lame and super like, just leave the house or whatever. But like, in my own like life and journey of how I got here professionally, how I helped develop the network that got me here professionally, and the skills that I volunteered. I served on a board. I learned skills about budgets and operations and organizations. Like, I got real life opportunities to understand things and created networks of people who were really kind in like letting this, very green around the edges, like 28, 27-year-old baby, essentially, like have these interesting conversations about whether the employees should get a raise or not, or whether it made sense to replace the roof this year or next year. I got to see how those conversations happened. And, so volunteering, serving on boards, it's true. Giving back is a gift to yourself. And I've always found it to be reciprocal. And I don't volunteer or get engaged to find out what I'm going to get from it, but I've never not gained something from it. And I always feel really good about giving. And so like for people who want to be part of building something, find other people who want to build that same version of the future that you do and say, hey, how can I help?
Yeah.
Don't go start your own. Don't find out what's already happening.
Yeah.
Dig in, make it better, put your energy into it. And you might be the drop that fills the bucket and has the impact. And I think a lot of people are just like, I have this idea and I'm gonna go start this thing. And sometimes that's needed, but just pausing and doing a quick scan of the landscape and being where is this already maybe happening in a pocket, and where could my energy or resources or connections really make the difference? And then go do that.
Yeah.
That is, I've seen, I've been here long enough. I've seen it happen. I've seen ideas that were told that they were absolutely impossible and could never be achieved. 18 years later, being implemented, happening. That's actually happening. And the moments along the way was because someone was like, no, I actually think that could be possible. Yeah. You do too. Let's go be crazy together and talk about how we change this together. Let's talk about how we build that or save that or grow that. And it just takes 2 people saying I think it could be possible. Let's explore it. That's how the stuff gets done, you guys. And it's so easy to go be part of it. Yeah. I wish I could tell you there's a clearinghouse or find a nonprofit that you. I would say boards are always looking for support, and if you do contact the chamber, we're happy to help do some matchmaking or expose you to some of what that is, or what ongoing maybe you don't want governance, ongoing volunteer opportunities. We usually have a good sense of what's happening, but go talk to your economic development or your town manager in the town or city that you live in and find out what's happening. And then when I literally just go to the council meeting and say, that's important, we should do it.
Right.
Council needs to hear that. Town managers need to hear that. Other residents need to hear that thing is being supported. And sometimes just saying it out loud, actually helps it get built. And I know it seems super small, but it's a huge way of getting things done.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think makes things? I've watched you build stuff. Incredible movements around comedy and community. What's your answer to that question? What's the thing that helps things get built? Whether here or elsewhere. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. You got to do it. You have to, you said, get out of the house, take that first step. That's literally it. When I was running some pretty successful comedy shows in the Twin Cities, I'd have some people come to shows who were interested in starting stand-up. And they're like, how do I do it? How do I get on stage? How do I make people laugh? Like, come to an open mic. Don't even plan to go on stage. Just come.
Yeah.
Come to an open mic. You're going to see people struggle all night long because the professionals are there trying new material. It's untested. It may not work. And then you have new people who are visibly uncomfortable on stage. That's where you get your confidence to go on stage. Because you're sitting there, you can say, I can do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of them do.
That.
But as far as anything else in my life, it's just been willing to take the risk.
Yes.
You have to be willing to fail.
Yes.
You have to, like, it's going to be part of it. You have to accept that you will fail.
Failure's learning.
And you have to be okay with it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who can't.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
But
my heart always hurts for them.
Yeah, same. It's part of life. There's nothing to be embarrassed about trying something and failing at it.
No.
I never wanted to be the person to live with regret.
Yeah.
Embrace opportunity and embrace failure.
Yeah.
It'll get you a long way.
I couldn't agree more, and I would like to point out that neither of us at any point said expertise, skill, education, right? Like
Yep.
you don't need the experience.
Yep.
Actually, you get the experience, and experience can be helpful, but you don't like to build something, to see something happen in your life, in your career, in your community. You really just need to like jump in and not be scared.
Exactly. And I think it was Meg Hatch.
Yeah, she's great.
Who worked her way up through the ranks. She got her position with no experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
And now she's leading sappers.
Yeah. She was funny about how she said it too. She was just like, yeah, I was like, she was like waiting tables or something and like and just did it. I mean, I'll tell you, the people who don't take the risk certainly don't achieve the thing.
Right.
Nothing gets built at all.
Right.
I love that you introduced risk to your answer because I think that's exactly right.
As we approach the finish line to this episode, there's one piece of context that we should address, not as news, but as part of where this year is taking us. As you begin to transition out of your role, something we've talked about before and that the Chamber is actively planning for, how are you thinking about stewardship right now? Yeah. What feels most important to leave strong, steady, and ready for what's next?
Yeah. Such a good question. I think stewardship's the right word. I use the word transition a lot. Like it's been 8 months that we named it, that we shared this with our membership, and it's not a normal 30-day notice. It's not abrupt. It's very intentional. It's very planful. All of that has felt important and continues to feel important. I think transparent communication continues to feel really important. But when I think about stewardship, part of what I think about is the hardest, and particularly the closer we get. So like as of recording, we're probably 2 months out from my like last day-ish. I mean, there's a whole bunch of variables in there, but it's getting closer. We're not talking about it in terms of like months or half a year or quarters anymore. We're like within that range. I think stewardship has really become, what do I not do? And that's well, first of all, it's not my natural inclination. I'm a doer. I'm a fixer. Probably to a fault. And so it's like I really am trying to act with a high level of self-awareness and intentionality and saying like, if I make this choice, am I choosing out of a place of like growth or momentum, which is great and has been where I've led from for 6 years, but is not the appropriate feel for a transitional moment. You don't want to be spiraling. You don't want to exponentially grow through a transition. You want enough stability and predictability. It's just enough for the next person to like get their feet underneath them and then say, this is how we're going to grow, or this is how we're going to deal with 2026's version of unpredictability. And so stewardship for me has been a lot of like not responding out of instinct or habit, but being really intentional and saying, if I am a good steward of this membership, of this team, of our resources, of our reputation, what is the decision I'd make right now? And not asking myself, what's the best thing to do right now? Because that's a different question and might in some circumstances have a really different answer. And so it is the context of stewardship that I'm really thinking about, kind of this homestead. am so proud of what this team and I have built over the last 6 years. And, my successor is getting like a really strong team, a really strong chamber, some really great momentum, some really good programs in place. They are going to adjust to the landscape that continues to change. My successor is going to be able to like work with this team who they continue to change. Like my team members have developed their skills and continue to amaze me in their own ways of growth. And so like, I can't wait for my successor to see them in all of that glory and help find their next development space so there's just so much opportunity ahead that I don't want to do anything that would prevent that. I don't want to put such a direction or a trajectory on anything that doesn't take full advantage of my successor's strengths and skills that predicts a moment that might not be the moment that we're in 4 months from now. Mm-hmm. Like we've seen that change, right? Like there needs to be the ability to be flexible and responsive. And so, yeah, stewardship is definitely how I'm thinking about the distance between right now and April. Yeah, right. Is like, how do I, and not in a way that's neglect. It's not abdication. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just stewardship, which is very different.
What would your message be to your successor?
It doesn't matter how we've done things before. Lead from your strengths. See this team, see this community, see this region, see these members. Give your most to them and leverage the best from them for the best outcomes for everybody. I'm providing you a moment and a platform that you are going to jump from. There's nothing about the moment that you're walking in that is the thing that you have to maintain or keep or treasure or... We've gone through a number of growth cycles in my own time, and none of them feel sacred. Do you, boo. That's, in summary, do you, boo. Do amazing. Do amazing. Yeah. Whatever that looks like. Right. I can't wait to be a member.
Yeah, right?
I can't wait to be I'm going to get all my benefits, and I've got the best director of engagement to help me get the most out of my membership. And yeah, I look forward to engaging in a different space. And I always wanted to work hard to make this a chamber that I was excited to be a part of. Yeah. And I am really excited to become a part of this chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For our listeners who care deeply about this community and this organization, what would you want them to know about how the chamber is positioned right now and why the future here is so strong?
Yeah, we've never been positioned better. The reality is, and this was true in 2018 and 2019 as I was looking at the chamber and interviewing for this role, membership associations have a downward trend for total number of members, revenue from members. That's a national trend. And it's membership associations, not just specific to chambers, right? Culturally and generationally, we think differently about what a membership should be and what we should get from it. And so, this chamber puts a high emphasis on the value we provide members, but we are not reliant on our members. Mm-hmm. So we've diversified our revenue sources. We've gotten creative about different ways to support our operations and deepen our impact. When I started, I think that 68% of our operation budget came just from membership dues, and then the other two big pieces were events and sponsorship, which are also coming from our members. Those pockets only run so deep, yeah. And so at this point, less than 33% of our overall revenue comes from chamber members, and from the day I arrived to the day that I'm leaving, membership dues, not sponsorships or events or any of the other stuff, membership dues is roughly the same total number dollars in our budget. We have grown the pie and reduced the dependency on members. And I'm really proud of that. That allows us to be creative and resilient. And it's part of why we did a tiered membership, so that if the economy is tough or if members are having a hard time, you can still access the knowledge and the advocacy and the skills and the network and the member pricing at a different tier of membership. You might get a slightly different benefit, right? But so if it's a hard year for you and you have to go from community builder to small business, that's fine. And we don't have to lose you, and you don't have to give up the benefits. And next year, if you're having a good year, community builder's still there and you can go right back up again. Yeah. And I think that speaks a lot about accessibility and durability and our plans for sustainability, all the abilities, right? It's and so I think that's a really great place for us to be in positionally. I would also say we have an incredible board. We have an incredible board. Our board of directors are amazing people. They are running amazing businesses and doing amazing things in our communities, and they represent a broad geography and a broad demographics. We work really hard to make sure they match the industry makeup of Androscoggin County so that it's a representative board. And they have asked all the right questions over the last 8 months. They're thinking about, picking my successor and about how to, shout out to Matt Nash, who's our treasurer. And I love you, Matt Nash. He said, as we prepared for our most recent board meeting, he said, what's the best way for us to have a board discussion about how we onboard and support our new executive? Yeah. How amazing. Yeah, so we have an incredible board, and that's vital to the success and health of an organization. And it's often something people don't look at, or, maybe they
It's one of those behind the scenes things we talked about earlier.
It really is. Yeah. And they're just they've been so supportive of, our strategic goals and the vision of this organization, of me professionally, that it's just, we're in a really good spot. We're a really good spot. And I would just say neither of those things are sexy. Membership dues and the governance model is you probably want me to be oh, we've got this really incredible marketing plan. We do. We've got these really incredible events that support our food economy and are fun. We do. We have a lot of those great things, but the strength of this organization comes from what we don't ask from our members so that they can participate and do all of the other hard things that they're doing in their business, and from our governance. Those are really fundamental things to the strength of an organization, and we're very fortunate.
What are you going to miss the most of your time here?
This team, this podcast, right? I get to spend time with really incredible humans. I get to, the people we interview on this podcast, the team that I get to work with every day, the young entrepreneur and business owner that I like, the people, right? I'm going to miss that.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss that.
All right, Shanna, final question. And I know this has been on a lot of people's minds. What's next for you?
Okay, 2 big things.
Yeah.
Right? So, launched my business, which is going to become a member of the chamber. Literally, I'm going to fill out my application when I hand in my keys. So, that's Project Tipping Point. And I had that business before I came to the chamber. In fact, it was working with some board members in their businesses as a strategic partner and planning facilitator that got my name thrown into the ring for this job in the first place. And so it's kind of full circle, which I'm excited about. And so I'll be able to kind of relaunch that and be talking to folks. And so what am I going to miss most is the people, and I'll get to still work with some. Right. And I, I'm not going to go that far. I'll be doing work, nationally and regionally, but I have always liked my main base clients. And so I'm excited about that. And as people, know now, I'm running for public office, and that's a new challenge for sure. I've always kind of structured my life around purpose and impact. And I just really believe genuinely it's only been cemented in my work here doing advocacy and lobbying for the business community and for our members. But policy is so impactful, either good or bad, right? Policy, solutions, regulations can make or break an industry, make or break a business, make or break a family, right? I've just seen how important it is in day-to-day life and work for people. And I've always believed, literally since I was 8, that policy making is the best way to have the most significant and most lasting impact on the most amount of people.
Yep.
I believe in direct service. I love direct service work, and I'm a system change root cause kind of gal. We need both. We need both to be tended to equally. So I'm excited for that next challenge and the way that I get to really look at policy solutions. And I've been able to ask our legislators to make change, to think differently about that policy that they're proposing that's going to hold back business. And
right.
and now I get to be the one saying no, that's a bad policy, and vote against it. And I think that's really exciting. That's obviously, should I be successful in this run, but I just believe in policy as a means of change making. And like in all of that, I will know I was not saying, oh, I love being a politician or politicians are awesome. And I'm not, no digs on politicians, but being a politician, being a candidate, being an elected official is the way that you can have the role of making policy. But like, I'm in it for the policy.
Sure.
The policy conversations and the policy solutions. And I'm excited about that part.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. It goes back to me being like a policy wonk and a nerd, and it's fine. It's fine.
It suits you.
Yeah, it sure does. Sure does. Remember that whole like acceptance thing? I'm feeling real good about it. Yep. Yes.
This has been a lot of fun. It's also great to be back in our chamber studio. And I know we're going to be bringing some more incredible episodes of Build, Lead, Thrive to our listeners in the coming weeks.
Little teaser for our next one, Craig Saddlemeyer for Raise Up Housing Cooperative. He's like, he's done a lot of work in the Lewiston region, and he's also had some really great policy solutions. But he's also created a bunch of housing, and he was doing it like he was one of the first to like be investing in infill development, and so that's a story I can't wait for people. You're gonna love it.
Yeah,
you're gonna love that one.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I used to work with Craig's wife.
Julia at
over
Dempsey.
at the Dempsey Center.
Yep,
Yes,
that
she's
makes
incredible.
Sense. She's also doing housing work these days for Healthy Homework.
Yes.
Yeah, they're an incredible little power family.
All right. I think we're going to put a bow on this one.
Yeah, I love it. Tie it up.
All right, we'll tie it up.
I'm supposed to say some things.
Okay.
Thanks for listening, as always, to Build, Lead, Thrive, Voices of Androscoggin. I hope that you take a second to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to us right now. It helps others discover these local stories and make sure that you never miss an episode. And if anything that we said resonated today, share it with someone who's building something or leading change or finding their footing in the work. And until next time, keep building, keep leading, keep thriving.
We're gonna get to know you. We're gonna talk it out. We're gonna get to know you and what you're all about. We're gonna get to know just what makes you feel alive. We're gonna get to know how you build, lead, and thrive. Build, Lead, and Thrive. Voices of the Androscoggin.